My name's Alex Kajelski. I'm the editor of The Athletic, and I'm normally based in London.
And you're here, Messi's here, but it's raining. So just what is this kind of experience like? Sitting in the rain waiting for Messi.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy, like thunder, lightning, things flying around, like food stalls collapsing, pretty dramatic scenes as everyone waits for Messi. There's honestly 90% of the people here have got Messi number 10 shirts on. I'm hoping that he is somewhere indoors and safe.
And before the thunder rolled in, and it was just going to be a nice fun unveiling. Just what kind of environment is this? How big of a deal is this that he's here in Miami instead of he could have gone back to Barca or could have gone to Saudi Arabia?
I came to this stadium for their last home game, and there was thousands of empty seats, a few journalists. Now there's hundreds of people from around the world coming to film this, coming to see this. I've never seen a football club change overnight by one person in this crazy way. The atmosphere is I was going to say electric. I mean, it's an electric storm, and you very much get the feeling that this club is never going to be the same again.
And yeah, Inter Miami has obviously been struggling this season. Just what is his presence do to potentially boost them up the standings?
I think soccer-wise, performance-wise, we'll have to wait and see. It's kind of hard to know. I think brand-wise, it's life-changing. I think there's only 4 US sports teams now that have more Instagram followers than Inter Miami. That's what happens when he joins. But yeah, I think on the pitch, let's see how fit he is. Let's see how much he raises the level with Busquets and Alba.
And then what does this do for U.S. soccer in general? The World Cup's coming in a couple of years. Just how does this kind of, kickstart almost, a bunch of interest, hopefully?
Yeah, it's going to get lots more eyes on it. I mean, if you look back to when Beckham came and the growth between then and now, it's obviously huge. I guess US soccer fans are hoping that by 2026, when the World Cup comes, that the league is able to really benefit from that. So there's when the World Cup comes here, that afterwards fans will fall in love with it and want to come to more MLS games, and it kind of helps produce the next generation of players and the next generation of fans.
Before all this stuff started happening, just talk a little bit about how big of a deal it is that Messi's here in Miami.
I think it's transformational. I think that the MLS is really going to be, starting to not only gain fans at a global level. I think it really sets them apart in terms of what kind of players are coming and when, right? Before we saw Ibrahimovic come in the last period of his career. We saw the same with Valderrama, Luis Hernandez, Jorge Campos, Pavel Pardo, a bunch of players that really came to MLS just to finish off their career. It seems like Lionel Messi still has a lot in the tank, especially after winning the World Cup and bringing his friends with him. I mean, that's right there. You already have half of the team. So I believe they should really bring it to the next level.
And what does it mean for the team in particular? Because they're struggling quite a bit so far this season. To bring in Messi, they just announced Busquets today, I think. Just what is that influx of all-time talent going to do for this club and do for the MLS?
So Busquets, Jordi Alba, and Lionel Messi is not going to be enough for a team that is sinking. That's my belief. They really need to work on signing new players, readjusting now with Gerardo Martino as their coach. They really should bring it, a little bit to the next level because they really don't have that much time, right? He's signed until 2015. This season is basically gone. So you're looking at next season, and that's it. That's basically the time frame that Miami has to make it happen. So it really is a short term if you think about it. But, I would never bet against Messi.
And then, away from the pitch a little bit, what does he do to, the city, bringing, the greatest soccer player of all time here to Miami? He's already been out at Publix.
Yeah.
He got, pasta the other day. What's kind of the vibe now around here?
Well, what brings to him personally, I think, is being able to be a little bit more of a normal person, which is something I'm sure he wants. He has a lovely family. He seems to be a family man. So I think that for him, it's everything he dreamed of in terms of the American dream. Now, what does it mean to the city? I think it's yet to be seen, but the Miami fans are not usually that regular, right? The Dolphins, when they're not doing good, people don't go to the stadium. The Heat does the same. if the Inter Miami starts doing good, I think he may be that that element of bringing the fandom of Miami together.
And you mentioned a couple names earlier, but I would say most MLS kind of American sports fans like myself, we probably look all the way back to David Beckham going
Right.
to the Galaxy, in 2007. How much bigger is Messi coming here than Beckham going? I mean, he had his own camera on game days, he had full fanfare, but how much bigger is this?
I think it's twice as big. And the reason why it's because when David Beckham was around, social media wasn't what it is today. So now Messi is known by every single person that likes soccer in the world. And even though David Beckham was global, I don't think he was as global just because technology wasn't there yet. So I think that it's really going to be transformational.
And obviously the ultimate goal he just accomplished a couple months ago winning the World Cup. In terms of Inter Miami, the MLS, just what's a realistic goal to set for him for his 2-year contract?
I think that's a hard question to answer. It's at a personal level, I think he already won, right? A lot of pressure is off of his shoulders. He has nothing to prove anymore after winning the World Cup. So at a personal level for Lionel Messi, not as an athlete, but as a person, I think it's amazing. Does he have enough in the tank to make Inter Miami champions? It's a really tough one. The team is not there. The coach just arrived, and even though he brought good players with him, I think it needs a little bit more than 2015 in terms of timing.
And then, obviously the World Cup's coming to North America in 2026. Just what does this do, 3 years out to kind of, really kickstart, fanaticism around the sport, getting it ready for the kickoff?
Yeah. Well, it seems like a snowball, really, because, they not only signed Messi today, but they also have the championship for CONCACAF. They will be having also the Copa Libertadores. They will, America has every single tournament when it comes to football within the next 3 years. So I think this is just like the cherry on top, but they really have it going for themselves.
Adriana, Monsalve, on her personality.
Cool. And, Messi's here, going to get unveiled today. Just what does, his presence here mean for the MLS, for, the city of Miami?
Well, a lot of great players have played in MLS in history. But I think one of the game changers that this league has had, obviously, was when David Beckham arrived to MLS. They put this kind of soccer, football, in the world map. But now it's even bigger with Messi in MLS. Why? Because Messi is the best, it's considered one of the best players in history, not just in the world, in history. He just won the FIFA World Cup, and I think that's an extra ingredient that makes this a huge deal for MLS. The whole world is going to be watching the GOAT, which is Lionel Messi. And of course, a little bit different about Beckham and Messi arriving to MLS is that we are a more global world. Like, we have social media, social networks, and for example, Messi went to Publix, one of the supermarkets here in the US, in South Florida, and everybody knew that Messi was in that store. Probably we didn't know that David Beckham made their own grocery shop because we didn't have the opportunity to see that kind of stuff at that moment. So I think it's going to be huge. Inter Miami now, it's an international club because the whole world is going to be watching the GOAT playing here.
Yeah, and you mentioned he's, the GOAT, just won the World Cup. Why MLS at this part of his career? He's won everything else. Why come here and kind of take this on?
Why MLS? I think he doesn't have anything to prove. He already won the FIFA World Cup. He won 4 UEFA Champions League. He won an Olympic. He won everything with Barcelona. He won everything that a player can have. And I think whatever he wants to have right now, it's have the time with their family, have a quality of life, to enjoy more, being with their family, with their kids. And I think MLS and Inter Miami could give him that. If he's happy, the Inter Miami is going to be happy too. I don't know on how good his football is going to be, how he can do to help this team that is on the bottom of the qualification. I think Messi can do it, but they also need to have other players to help the team to improve their game. I think they have the opportunity on the Leagues Cup, which is an international competition with all the MLS teams play against all the Liga MX teams, and I think they can go for that one and think that they will gonna make it. I think it's gonna be really hard for them to try to get to the playoff. It's gonna be really hard because they are like 12 points away of that.
Yeah, you know, the World Cup's coming in 3 years to North America. How does this kind of huge event like this with Messi coming here, presumably more people are going to watch MLS throughout the season. What does that do to kind of, you know, get people excited to, you know, watch and play soccer?
Well, people is going to get excited because it's the GOAT. It's one of the GOATs in soccer history. And of course, everybody's going to be here trying to see something, to see him playing. I think he has a lot to offer still. He's a really good player. He was in a really good shape. He was one of the best players in that Argentina team who won the World Cup finally. So I think he has a lot to offer still. And I think Inter Miami is going to do everything to engage all the people in the United States to make that World Cup even more fascinating than it's going to be just because it's the World Cup. Remember, this league was born right after the last World Cup here in America was played. The MLS was born when USA 94 after that World Cup. So I think it have all the ingredients to be great. Of course, out of the field, it's going to be big. Off the field and on the field, we're going to see him. And of course, probably he's not going to score 90 goals like he did in Europe, but probably he's going to go at 30 or 40 goals. And help the team to score more goals that they needed to make victories.
And then one more, just, you know, you personally, you know, he's been in kind of all of our lives for like 20 years now. What's your first memory of him, and how have you kind of followed his career for the last 2 decades?
I had the opportunity to meet him when he just won the treble with Barcelona back in 2009. When Barcelona won the UEFA Champions League, La Liga in Spain, and also La Copa del Rey. So he was only 24 years old, and he wasn't realize how big he was going to be. And probably I didn't know either myself at that moment. So for me, it's great to be part of history, to have such a great player in our city. I think this is huge for Inter Miami, huge for the people in Miami to enjoy football. There's a lot of Latin American people here that love watching football. So it's great to have Messi, to have Busquets, and to have all the players that they're going to have in order to build this team to be more competitive.
Luis Omar Tapia. I'm an on-air soccer personality.
Awesome. And, you know, before all the rain and the thunder came, you know, Messi was here at some point. Hopefully he still is. What does that mean? What does that mean for, you know, the city, the team, the MLS, the world?
Well, you know, this is something that it was actually put together about 4 years ago. Jorge Mas, David Beckham, Dan Garber, the whole MLS industry, let's put it that way. And it worked its way out throughout the years. And the last 2 years, actually, whatever started 4 years ago, it became more of a reality. And today, we are here to witness, you know, the welcoming of Lionel Messi to Major League Soccer, and one of the teams that actually needs a huge boost within the organization, sports-wise, and everything else, and it will bring much life to the team that really needs it.
Yeah, talk about the team. You know, they're obviously struggling a bit this season. Just what kind of boost can arguably the greatest football player of all time bring to Inter Miami?
Well, there's a lot of things that we have to take in consideration. One is the sports side, which is going to create a lot, because there's going to be a lot more people in the stadium. It's going to be a sold out. We know practically in the last few weeks that the prices of the tickets for every game, they went up almost like 1,000%. I'm a season ticket holder. My tickets, that cost, I'll give you an average of $250. Now they're worth about $800 to $1,000. So that's a big jump. If somebody that is not a season ticket holder that wants to buy a ticket to come and see Lionel Messi play in this stadium, either in the Major League Soccer or the international tournament that the club is involved in. So that's the sports side. But it's also Messi, it's bringing into a league that it's going to make it much stronger. And when I say much stronger, it's going to become healthier because the franchises are going to increase their value. Right now, this team was probably valued of maybe $500 million. Now it's way than that with the welcoming of Lionel Messi. And every other team it's going to gain not only economical, with a lot of money coming into their facilities, to their stadiums, by selling a lot of tickets, but the merchandising is going to be huge throughout the country. Every stadium is going to be sold out. And as a matter of fact, it hasn't been brought to my attention yet, but I believe that some of the cities that have MLS franchises and have NFL stadiums, I'm quite sure those teams are going to do something business-wise so that rather than having 25, 30,000 people in their seats, they want to bring them to the NFL stadium, Charlotte, Nashville, all these huge stadiums that have 70, 80, 90,000 seats, and I will think it will be great. That's from the money-wise standpoint, the economic part of Major League Soccer. The other side, which is great for Messi to come here, it's because Messi is a brand. It's going to be a marketing tool for every company in the nation, not only in the United States, but it can be also internationally. Every brand is going to want to have the name Messi associated with him. The other part that I believe is going to increase a lot for all the teams in the MLS is for their academies. When David Beckham came here years ago, a lot of kids wanted to be David Beckham and they wanted to wear number 23, not because Michael Jordan, but because David Beckham. So Messi has not played a game yet for this team. And there are shirts and a lot of merchandise is being sold right now throughout the country with the brand Lionel Messi. So the academies, now all these kids are going to want to see Messi. And there are two things that a lot of people don't understand what's the objective of Major League Soccer from its birth. And there's two things. One is to elevate the culture of soccer in this country for everybody. That's number one. And two is to maintain and continue to value their franchises. By bringing Messi, all that is going to be a goal.
Yeah, and you mentioned David Beckham coming over to the Galaxy, a decade and a half ago. How much bigger is this time around? Because David Beckham was this whole thing, it was a big deal. But how much bigger is Messi now that he's in MLS?
There's no comparison because there are two different style of players. If we talk about sport-wise, as a player, as a soccer player, football player, Brandon-wise, I would say maybe they're at the same level, even though David likes more shaving and he likes movies. So, but Lionel is different. He's another type of brand. He's more like in the familiar side, closer to the fans, closer to the people. So it's a huge impact. I think it's even bigger than David Beckham. David was good. It was huge. But Lionel Messi, it's bigger. It's bigger than any other athlete. Listen to what I'm going to say. It may sound crazy. There's no NFL player. There's no NBA player. There's no NHL player. And there's no baseball player that is going to have so much press on a presentation like Messi is going to have tonight here in Miami. There isn't. There's not an athlete in the world that it has this much impact.
And, we've already seen him out and about around town. He got Pasta the other night, went to Publix. And, back in Europe and some other places that he's played, he's kind of been hounded all over the place. Seemingly, for the most part, he kind of can go about his life a little bit more here. What is kind of the vibe of the city now that Messi is amongst us here?
Well, here's the thing. as I mentioned before, he's very close to his fans. He's very a familiar individual. He cares about his family. He cares about everyone that is around him. The other thing is, where you saw him at the supermarket, it's a city that is very calm. Okay, so that city, a lot of those people that they were at the store, they knew who he was. But there is, how can I put it this way so that I don't sound bad? It's people with different levels of education. I think that will sound good, but I'm sure that if it goes to downtown Miami, if it goes to South Beach, and if it goes to Aventura, to all those places, it's going to be even greater than what at the supermarket. So I think the culture is different in South Florida. Every city that you go to in South Florida or in the state of Florida, the culture is completely different.
And one more question. You know, the World Cup's coming to North America in 3 years. Just what does this kind of do, 3 years out to kind of kickstart, maybe interest in soccer in America? People, all around here have been telling me that they weren't even fans of the MLS or Inter Miami, but they've got Messi, Inter Miami jerseys on the back now. So what does this kind of do just to kind of, bring fans to the sport here in this country?
Well, everybody wants to see Lionel Messi. And by playing in the United States, all the eyes for the next 2.5 years are going to be in Major League Soccer. So in every stadium, wherever he goes, from east to west, from north to south, everybody, every international media, every local media from the United States are going to be covering every step that Lionel Messi makes in this country. And that's only going to be for the future of the United States, the development of soccer, because every kid, as I mentioned before, every kid in the United States wants to be Lionel Messi. Just like David Beckham, a lot of kids wanted to be him. A lot of kids, that's all they were practicing, it was free kicks. No? So now every kid is going to want to dribble. It's going to want to be Lionel and during his dreams, while he's having dinner. I'll give you my example. I have 3 grandkids, okay? 2 of them are Real Madrid fans. 1 of them is a Barcelona fan, okay? But they all love him. When Messi plays, everybody sits around the house just to watch him play. And when the games are done, they can go out in the yard and they practice the moves that he does with the ball. So that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a big jump for the development of the soccer, football in this country, as it's been for the past 15 years, because we have great athletes in the United States, great soccer players, and everybody in England knows who they are. And many more are coming out. So wait for them, because now that Messi's here, more are going to come out. I hope that they go some to Spain, not too many to the British Premier, okay?